Hello, elegant listeners, and welcome to Go, my favorite sports team. Today is another fantastic day where we have a phenomenal guest where we can dive into their sports life. It is the wonderful, fantastic, exorbitant, crazy, hilarious content creator extraordinaire, PatrckStatic.
That's the most insane title I think anyone has ever given me.
Really? Really?
Yeah, that's I feel royalty right now.
He's also a father, to be clear.
Yeah, dad. Yeah. On top of all, I gotta redo the entire title now. Add father to the...
Dang it. I need to add one more thing.
Just to the beginning of it, yeah. Dr. Father Professor Patrick. That's me.
Dr. Mr. Man guy who does things on the internet. He may have just recently acquired a new vehicular form of transportation.
It's so nice. Not having a car for 6 months really sucks.
You know, it's funny. I have gone 8 years.
I was going to say, since you moved to LA, I think you had a car like as a rental that I drove in once with you. And then like since then, I think I've never seen you within like You've just had like a bike.
I had a car from 2016 to like 2018.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, long time
that's
ago.
Like 8 years ago.
8 years without a car. But today is a fantastic episode because we're doing another person's sports life. Patrick, believe it or not, which a lot of people I bet on the internet don't even know that follow you, used to be an athlete.
Yeah, long time ago. Yeah.
Arguably still is an athlete. I think people are forever athletes, but you know, different form of athlete. This time you're running around chasing your kid and doing the lifts and all kinds of stuff for that.
I do a little bit of running back in like when I get some free time. More in the evenings or very early mornings.
One of the most fascinating things about you is how long it took for me to find out that you used to run track and cross country. Because we've been friends since 2014?
Yeah, I think 14, 15.
14, 15, because we played Destiny.
I was going to say, I still have those recordings. I think it was around the last Drunk Minecraft episode, because I remember Wade came in completely sloshed.
Oh my, yeah.
You were at the beginning of the raid. We were doing Crota's End for any listeners that are big Destiny fans. We were doing Crota's raid, and we made it all the way to the bridge part, and Wade was like, Tyler... when'd you get here, buddy? And Tyler's like, I've been here the whole time.
And this wasn't even our first attempt at the bridge part. This was like the 5th attempt at the bridge part.
It's like an hour and a half into the raid, and Wade was somehow coherent enough to play. And he was like telling Molly to bring him more drinks, and Molly's like, shut up.
Oh my God.
I have the recording somewhere on my channel still.
I remember Wade even afterwards like, no, do not post that.
Yeah, it's been privated for a very long time.
Because this was an off-stream thing anyway, so...
I have it for blackmailing purposes for Wade in case I need it for the future, but yeah.
Next episode with Patrick is blackmailing a sport.
How to blackmail your friends and get away with it.
No. But we're going to dive into Patrick's sport life, his history growing up with sport, actually growing up in the vicinity of Aaron Judge, which is a whole other thing we'll talk about probably at some point.
And Doug Martin.
There you go. Another phenomenal athlete. Yeah, it's going to be a fun episode where we dive into Patrick's life and his sports life. To begin, Patrick, you're a gamer extraordinaire now. You work in content creation, but what was your first introduction to sports as a kid? And then what was your introduction into video games?
So when sports, I played soccer. That's the earliest memory I have. I'm sure I played like t-ball or something like that, but I don't really remember it. I played soccer, and I was always, for some reason, put as a goalie. My main memory core memory I have of it is my team was very good. And so I never got any action over by the goalie posts to where I was always sitting down kind of like on my, just kind of squatting and just picking grass. That's all I did almost every single game. Our team did phenomenally well. I never had to do anything. That's all I remember playing soccer. And when it came to video games, my earliest memory is back in the day, for those listening, unless you're old like we are, we had to go rent new games from a place called, I think I can name drop like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video. I really wanted this cool game called Mortal Kombat, and my parents did not know what Mortal Kombat was. And when I started ripping people's heads off, they immediately returned. That was one of my earliest memories, was playing Mortal Kombat and getting in trouble with my parents for playing Mortal Kombat. Coincidentally, probably a little bit after when I started playing soccer.
Speaking of which, being interested in Mortal Kombat, did you ever do like Taekwondo or any combat sports or wrestling?
No, I always really wanted to do like jiu-jitsu or like karate or stuff, because I always had friends in school like doing taekwondo, and I don't think jiu-jitsu was as big, but they were doing karate because they had the different belts and stuff they brought to school. And I was like, man, I want to do that. I want to have like an orange belt or a blue belt or something cool like that. We've actually talked about getting Milo into it once he gets a little bit older, because like something what I wanted to always do. I mean, that would be kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
It's more about really cool discipline as well as just inner strength, and physical strength. But it's, I think, very disciplining for any young person to grow up to learn about.
I think flexibility in it too, like body awareness and body movement, you learn so much in that sense. And being flexible is something, unfortunately, I don't have. And I played sports all my life, but like I go to stretch, I'm like, ah!
Nowadays, yeah.
I feel like I'm more of a brick wall that does not flex than anything else.
You're nice, you're hunkering down, unbreakable.
So did your parents kind of like push you into sports, or was that something you kind of chose for yourself as a kid?
They always urged us kids, my brother and my sister, to do different sports. My brother was gifted with length. He was a very tall man. And my sister was very, very agile and quick. So she played volleyball. My brother played basketball. And I wasn't either of those things, really. I was fast. And so they always pushed me, well, maybe you can do cross country. And that's how I started doing cross country. And after that, my dad and mom were both like, we think you do really good at track. The first year I did it, the first couple of months, I was like, I don't know if I really like this. No, you just need to find like, what races you do very well. And I excelled in longer distances. I was very quick. And that's how I met Doug, was I would do the 8x8?
The 800 meter, 4x400, yeah.
I did the 4x4, the 800, the mile, and 2 mile. 4 events at track meets, which was crazy. But the ones that I did with Doug, I was always third leg. Doug, of course, being the sprint master he was fourth leg. My parents didn't really like push me to do anything. They made deals with me. I always really wanted a Letterman jacket. And they told me if I broke a 5-minute mile in my freshman year, they would get me a Letterman jacket. And at the end of my freshman year, I had a Letterman jacket. So I was very, very happy about that.
So like going back in time, you started with soccer. How long did you play soccer, and how soon after were you into track? Because also those are different seasons, so you can do both.
I could do both. I wasn't very good at kind of kicking the ball. A lot of people, I think kicking the soccer ball is like the pointed part of your toe, right? That like the kind of beginning when really you kind of hit it on like the side of your foot.
Side/top, yeah.
Yeah, side/top. And I could never really get, the easiest way I can describe is technique down. I always really, really wanted to do soccer, but track and cross country just spoke to me better. I understood it more. It's just running, sure, but a lot of it is endurance and knowing how much energy do I have in the tank, knowing pace and keeping your breathing and energy as well as mental energy under control. Because cross country, you're out in the world, right? You're out in a park, you're out on a mountain range, whatever you may be doing. You're out in the world and you can't really see who's in the lead. You might be in the lead. Track, you know who's in the lead. You constantly always see them. So it's always a mental game. At least it was for me. And so I always would try to make sure I was always within the shadow of whoever was in the lead as best as I could for the first lap. Second lap was always the hardest, at least in the mile. Third lap, you would try to get tension and traction on the leader. And fourth lap, you always just give it everything you got. The transition from soccer to track, though, or cross country, just to running in general, was I couldn't really find the niche type of technique to be qualified as good enough, in my opinion. I always kind of felt like a bench warmer. I would always just be kind of there, but never in the game playing. I never thought I was really good enough. Whether I was or wasn't, it was just something that I wasn't totally prepared to put all of myself in. With running, sure, you're on a team, but it's very much a solo kind of adventure. And so I kind of excelled in that.
Yeah, I would say much like swimming, it's kind of like a simulated team until you actually are doing relays. Because in relays, like you have the handoffs, you have the transitions, much more so in track than swimming because you're not passing a baton in swimming. The one person swims and then you time when they're coming in the wall and you jump into the water. So it's kind of a simulated team more so entirely in swimming than track.
It requires coordination on both fronts, That I longed for with. And just unlike any other sport, any contact sport, soccer, football, basketball, there has to be a kind of a synergy between you and your teammates. So there would be, I remember times when I did the 4x4, I would be hanging with my cousin. He was the second leg. And then I would try to hang out with Doug. He had a whole different friend group that I don't want to say I get along with, but Doug was one of the very popular kids in school. Obviously, I mean, he was very, very talented. But he hung out with a lot of the football jocks. I was not part of that crew. I was one of the weird, awkward emo kids in my school.
Well, he also played football, so that...
Yeah. But I mean, on its off season, he still wanted to stay in shape, so he would do track.
Yeah. Also, by the way, if you don't know who Doug Martin is, NFL running back.
Amazingly gifted since the very beginning. He was always, it was truly a pleasure to be able to grow in high school with him and run with him. He was awesome. Was
there some sort of thing that pulled you more once you like got introduced to cross country and then to track? Was it more of an individual aspect where it was like all on you, or did you just really, was it finding friends within the cross country group? What was it that kept you into it more than anything outside of your parents giving rewards?
My coaches.
Yeah.
My coach is telling me I was going to go run track. I really didn't like track, to be honest with you. I knew I was good. You can ask Tyler. I don't really brag about myself very often. I just don't like to. I just like to stay as humble as I can, but I was very good at running. I had a coach named Coach Hone. He was an amazing, amazing teacher. I'd known him since my freshman year. And he was like, Pat, you have an undeniable gift. If you don't run track, when you get to econ, I will flunk you. And I was like, well, I knew it was a sarcastic remark, but he meant goodwill with it. And I don't think if I listened to him and my coach, Felicia, they were the bedrock to my running career. I don't think I would have pursued it as heavily without their support, not believing in me. You know, it was really them saying, you have a gift, and if you don't utilize it to your maximum degree, it's a wasted gift almost. I think they tried to say it in the best way that they possibly could. And it's
like you're squandering your talent.
Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you do this kind of a thing?
It's like the Spider-Man thing. With great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly.
So you need to use that ability to run. So run, damn it.
Yeah. Make it a fun time. I mean, you've got the skill. We've seen you do very well in cross country. Why not just do it in track? And track, you're just running in circles, which was extremely boring for me. If you go to like do PE or anything, I don't even know if PE is still a thing in school. I imagine it is. But, you know, they would have you like, okay, today's thing, go run a mile. I'd get it done in like 5 minutes. And I'd be like, what do I do for the rest of the 30 minutes of class? They're like, go run more, I guess. And I was just like, okay. Cross country was always my thing. Going out and running in nature, that was always so much fun.
Have you always liked being like outdoors in nature and wilderness and wild?
Yeah, and you could tell it's passed on to my son. He loves being, right now he's outside the house. He's throwing stuff against my window. I can hear it.
Maybe he's going to play baseball if he's throwing stuff.
You know, he's throwing and smacking stuff all the time. But my family we're very outdoorsy people. As weird as it is being like an online creator, it's very nice to get back to nature, especially when you're just out in a park. You can definitely see if you guys go to parks where you guys have, like, if you're near a high school or a college, you might see like paint or like chalk on the ground. It means there's like a cross country team that is active in your area. I know we have a couple of parks nearby, and we always see that kind of chalk showing like arrows and which way you're supposed to be running. Those are the cross country marks showing that this is the path you're supposed to follow.
Or they're the chalk paint that you put on the grass. My undergrad, we had hosted one of the biggest cross country events in our conference. And we knew it was coming up because there'd be the flags and all the arrows painted all throughout campus. And I'm like, walk into class and stuff, and the people are running. Usually it'd be on the weekend, but like I'd have stuff going on because I was an athlete as well. And I'd be walking past, and all of a sudden, like, you know, they get spread out and you just see one person running. What the heck? And then you see this whole group of people.
You see like 300 more people. Like, yeah. Oh, snap.
And the craziest part for me is, and I've talked about this a little bit with some other people, is the fact that so much of cross country, you aren't seen and monitored.
Not really, no. It's really a big trust game.
Yeah, so there's plenty of things like that happens that people don't realize with like race car driving. There's rubbing, there's, you know, elbows, there's things that happen in the race.
In the beginning of a race, oh, absolutely, there's elbows. There was definitely tension between different schools. I won't call them out because it's been so long, it doesn't matter anymore. But
no, call them out. Do it. Name names.
So I went to a Catholic high school, and so our division was other schools of that nature, different religions and stuff like that, but also public schools.
Yeah, you raced against the Satanics, the Snake School, the Blood Worshippers, the Vampires, the Werewolves.
Lost horribly to the Werewolves, let me tell you what, dude.
The X-rated school.
You know, during the Vampires, they never showed up, man. It was weird. Daytime races, I don't know.
They would never leave the woods. They'd go in and they never come out.
I know. You see them go in. They're so fast. The Jesuit schools, though, were always so so aggressive in the races. Some of the most memorable races I've ever done was in Fresno. We raced in this beautiful park, and then we raced on Stanford's campus on their golf course, which I think that was the weirdest. I think part of it was on the golf course.
By the way, if I went back to school, Stanford's where I'd want to go.
It's a beautiful campus. But I remember both of those events we raced against. I don't remember the Jesuit school. I guess if you guys are in Northern California or want to be, super investigative, you guys could probably do it. Those are the only two races I was pushed to the ground, and I had a hard time getting up. And in the beginning of a race, when you get pushed to the ground, you have to get back up as fast. Usually it's kind of like rules of mosh pitting. You get picked right back up. Otherwise you get trampled. It's very dangerous. Or people just try to go around you. But there's like 300-400 people at the beginning of a race, and then you all bottleneck. Like you have to get on a trail, and you're not all going to fit onto that trail unless you're on a big course. And those are the only two courses I got knocked down to the ground. And we were always situated right next to the Jesuit school. It's just all boys school. So they were always such dicks. It was always so mean. Why were you so mean to us? We ended up winning always against them. We went to state multiple times, but I don't know. Those are some of the most fun races, in my opinion. Getting knocked to the ground, because it just builds it just builds the adrenaline in your system. You're just like, I'm going to kick that guy's ass by just beating him. I just got to go faster than him. Those were the races that I remember wholeheartedly. It's so much fun.
Well, yeah, and there's plenty of clips of athletes like track stars that tripped and fell at their start and stuff, and then they get up and they end up winning the race, like the comeback, because there are two ways you can take it. You get shooken up and you don't have the wherewithal to get back into the race, and you just end up running your race and you feel defeated, or you get the crazy adrenaline rush and it's just like, I need to get back into this. I need to make up for this, and you just go.
Oh, yeah. In my races, there was very few times where I was like, just quit. Even on my worst days, I remember one of the earliest races I did, I started eating right before my races. Don't do that. I think I took an energy drink, which was a terrible thing. I think it was called Full Throttle was the energy drink that I took. And then I ate like a granola bar. And almost to the end of the race, I just vomited horribly in the middle of the race. And I was like, I should just walk off and take the horrible time that I'm going to get. I didn't. I hobbled, throwing up at the same time all over myself, and I crossed the finish line. They're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine." They gave me my ticket, which I was happy about. But I still finished. I was so proud of myself.
Well, you unfortunately didn't get to finish your food, but
no.
It decided to return instead of go through.
It did. Being able to just get through a race, it never crossed my mind of just quitting. It was just like, you need to finish. And it wasn't even the team aspect. It was just more of a personal goal. It's my one big fear is failure. And I never, ever wanted, and I hold myself higher than I think I should, but I always wanted to make sure I always finished a race, no matter how much pain I was in, whether I was vomiting all over myself or what else. I always wanted to finish. That was always my goal. Obviously, having a personal best record would be nice, but other than that, I always just wanted to finish.
So aside from cross country and track, growing up, you did a little bit of soccer. Do you have any other memories of sports that you kind of were interested in or wanted to get into, or maybe even sports video games you played?
So my senior year, my last year of high school, I told my track coach I wasn't going to do track, and this massively upset them. And I told them, they're like, well, what are you going to do anyway? You're just going to waste away your last season? I was like, nope, I'm going to go play badminton. That's what I did. I had so much fun. If you are in high school listening to this and your school has badminton, please go and sign up for it. Or at least go watch the games. They are some of the most fun and energetic games to play. I was the only white guy on my entire team, was gifted with an amazing teammates throughout my whole thing. My whole season of playing. It was the most fun I think I had in high school, was playing badminton with all my friends. Going to some of the tournaments that we went to, my God, people are so talented playing that. People doing tricks behind their back and stuff and doing fake outs. Oh my gosh, it's crazy fun. I never thought I would have so much fun playing it, but it was genuinely, I wish I can go back.
Well, I know Mark is, because badminton is huge in Asia. It's huge. It's like broadcast like pro sports in America in Korea. It's insane what they do. And so Mark has shown me some of the clips and some of the different things, and we've showcased it on here. The speed in which it's played, granted, we all know that the shuttlecock is designed to slow down, but you still hit it hard and then it catches and then you still have to adjust to it. It's nuts.
The best way to do is to just try to anticipate where it's going to be. That is what I was told from my coach, which funny enough was still my cross-country coach. She didn't do track. She would go to cross-country. She would do cross-country and badminton. I had a different coach. Coach Hone was the one that was track and cross-country. I miss it so much. It was so much fun. Being able...
You could still play.
I could. Not now, dude. I'm going to get my freaking butt handed to me by all these youngsters out there.
That's fine, but you just got to start. You just got to get back into it, Start going in the backyard and hitting some shuttlecock around.
So when I was in high school, I was working a part-time job at the same time, and I never could really afford the really nice badminton racket. They were like $200. Instead, I would buy my friends' used crappy rackets. Some of them were like missing. I don't know what, like, you know what I mean? Like the racket netting is called. Some of those were missing and stuff. So like the tension on it was...
It's just string. It's called tennis string.
Tennis string, yeah.
Yeah, because you string a racket.
Right. It's very similar to how the badminton rackets are made. The actual head of the racket is much smaller than like a tennis racket and much longer, but that creates faster flexibility. So like you can, you could just kind of whack it and just spike the shuttlecock places, but I could never really afford the nice ones. So the best thing I could do was go to like my local sports store and buy tennis gripping. And that's how I would kind of just be able to hold on to it and just smack stuff. It was so much fun. Now, if I were to go back, I don't know who I'd play with. I'd just play with my son, I guess, just smacked.
I am sure there's probably some sort of badminton club.
Oh, I'm sure. I got to look into it.
I mean, at that, you could go to pickleball paddles and stuff like that. I know it's different, but it's still in the same genre. It's played on a court.
It's with like a wiffle ball, right?
Yeah, it's like a wiffle ball.
My parents and my cousins play, and I've never gone to go and play.
It's fun. To me, the way I like to describe pickleball is like playing table tennis on the table. It's like you shrunk down and you're playing ping pong standing on the table.
It's like, yeah, real life. Why are they called pickleball?
It's named after a dog.
Oh, okay. I've always wondered that.
So there's two theories on why it's named that. One of them's the dog, and I choose to believe the dog story.
That's a much better story anyway.
The dog would constantly chase and grab the ball.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Well then, yeah, I like naming pickleball now.
I know we've talked about this because you've kind of tried to potentially get Aaron Judge to come on the podcast. You grew up in an area that has had two major pro athletes. Obviously, you ran track with Doug Martin, and then I think your mom knows Aaron Judge's mom. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, he attends our church. Granted, full disclosure, I don't get to attend church as much as often, but his parents still attend my parents' church out in Little Stockton, California. Fun times. And we grew up with Aaron being, active in the church and stuff. So that was always kind of cool. He was mainly in like my brother's, I think, his kind of like confirmation type class, if you will. I think I'm a little bit older than Aaron is. That
would make sense, yeah, because I know I'm older than him. So.
I just remember Aaron being like insanely scary tall. Like that's.
Well, he's a big guy.
Yeah, I just remember sitting like behind him in like the pews, and he'd be like, I can't see the pastor. This dude's like move. Like he's just. We sat behind him a couple of times.
I can't believe you would judge Aaron Judge that way.
My bad.
You're judging the judge.
We had those two. I know we also had one more. I don't know how internationally. I don't know if you know. Her name was Jackie Jamelis. She was a women's basketball player that came out of the same high school. Man, I don't know if she went on to the women's NBA or not. That'll have to double check, and I'll get back to you on. But she was the only other like big star that I remember coming out of like my high school or my area. I'm sure there's more, but
which also brings me to the question: like, how noticeable was the difference between them and other athletes? Like having seen them play or size or stature. I mean, you were on track with Doug, so.
Doug was a small little dude. I'm not going to.
Oh, really?
I don't remember exactly how tall Doug was, but I don't remember him being like, yeah, he was 5'9", so he was about my height. I remember kind of not towering over him, but being about the same height and stuff, but the man was fast. He was super charismatic, super nice, didn't really care who you were. He was always just super willing to talk to you and stuff. In track and field, he was he would snap into a different mode right before the race, like 30 seconds, a minute into the race. We'd all gather up, do like a little team huddle, be like, hey, let's not suck. He would do his little prayer before we start, and then he would always kick ass. He laid it all out on the field. With Aaron, I've only been to a handful of his games, but he was always, he left it all out on the field.
Did their athletics showcase like a distinct difference between them and the average that you saw race against them? I imagine it's hard because there were a lot of pro athletes that come out of California. So
with Doug, I would say so. He kind of just had this aura about him. And I can only speak to Doug because I haven't gotten to like play baseball or anything like that with like Aaron. I think he went to a different high school and stuff, I think.
But I mean, if you watched him, that's also the thing. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Baseball's tough. I wish I knew more about it and I watched it more often. I can only relate it to running because it's the one thing that I did a lot of. Doug had a different aura about him that you knew he was going to be. You knew he was going to be really fast just by the way he carried himself, especially without even watching him run. You knew he would be fast. The first time that I subbed in for whoever I subbed in for to start running the 4x4s with him, I was like, "Are you sure Doug's should be the 4x4? I'm pretty fast. I could beat him." And Doug overheard me say that. He's like, "You want to do a 4x4? You want a 400-meter race?" And I remember we started. My coach was like, "Okay, go." Doug kept pace with me. He looked over to me, smiled, and took off. I was like, "Son of a bitch." He was playing with me the entire time. I was like, okay, I can. You could just see him smiling as he turned around after the race was done. I crossed over. He's like, "That's why I run the last leg." I was like, okay, I got you. All right, I'll shut up. So yeah, I don't think he was like overly cocky about it. Some races he was, but he deserved it when he did. Definitely beating out a lot of the other tough runners. There was only one other person that I think would kind of hold his own against him. That was my buddy Mike Smith. That dude was fast. He was kind of like the dude I looked up to. He had this specific silent guy aura about him. He kept his head down in school and just around. He was very quiet, but on the field, he was a monster. He was insanely fast. Didn't ever look like he was under any type of fatigue. Same with Doug. They just looked like it was so natural to them. They were just like, "I'm just out for a run. I'm running a 440 mile, but I'm having a good time. Not being bothered at all." And that was just like Mike. I remember Mike beating a PB and he's like, "I could have done better." I was like, "What do you mean you could have done better? Like you beat your record. Should you be happy about that?" I really slowed down at this pace. I was like, to me, it was like unfathomable how much they hold themselves to that degree. I would be happy.
Well, I imagine as a runner, you probably have felt that too. Like you ran a good race and then you're like, I probably could have done better here or done this different or done that better. I feel like athletes who really are in tune with their body and they get to the end and they're not like fully fatigued to the point to where it's like, I can't really go any further. They know they could have pushed in a different area.
And that's what my coach would always kind of nail down on us was if you are jumping around at the end of a race, you didn't leave it all out. You need to be on the ground. You need to make sure you leave it all on the field, no matter what you're doing. If you're running the 2 mile, I expect you to be dead on the ground by the time you pass. And I don't think he literally meant that. But if you're jumping around, be like, yeah, that's a lot of energy you could have put in the race. Why didn't you do that? I remember doing that one of the first races where I got my personal best. I think my mile time was like 4:42. I was overjoyed and I was jumping out at the end of it. And he's like, where was all that energy when you could have been running? You could have gotten a faster time. Where was that? I was like, I barely breathing, but like I was just happy I beat my record. But there was multiple times where I had to make sure, like, no, he's right. Like, sure, at the end of a race, if you have nothing left and you're jumping around, that's fine. But what I was doing, I was like running around doing like trying to do like cartwheels and just being stupid. I could have tuned all that more energy into focusing more on the race. And that's, I think, what the lesson was. And obviously, being a high schooler, I was very naive to the fact of what he was trying to teach me.
Well, and there's also, I mean, our bodies are capable of more than we can consciously put ourselves through. You know, the fight or flight response where moms lifted up cars to save their kids and things like that. But we have that block in our head. But there's some people, especially in racing and especially in long distance type endurance stuff, where they're able to push themselves to the point to where they are running on that level of energy, those massive reserves, and overstimulating the nerves to the point to where it's, because the thing is that level of use is full on tearing and activating every muscle group and afterwards that it's so incredibly detrimental to the body.
Oh yeah, neurons are snapping, body is breaking down. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're ripping your muscles because they're fully activating and they're not designed to activate to that extent with full neuron firing. Have you seen the movie? I think it's called The 4 Minute Mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy literally collapses at the end.
Yeah.
That's what I think a lot of people think of when it's like, if you put it all out there, you like are blacked out, like done.
That's the expectation. There was tons of races where I did that. I was out for a good like 10, 15 seconds. I remember passing out for a couple of minutes and my dad picked me up and like had me in the bleachers. I was like, where am I? He's like, you passed out. I was like, oh, did I finish? He's like, yeah, you finished. So it's when you dedicate yourself to the whole thing and you have nothing like that, it's a good feeling. It sounds like it wouldn't be, but it's a really relieving feeling, especially if you're nervous before a race or whatnot. At least it was for me.
The part that fascinates me the most, and this is something that, you know, I didn't run track, I didn't do cross country, but seeing how it's trained for it's the exact way that you do it in the race. It's the most exact type of training. But you also will do like longer runs in cross country to build up your, I felt like their practices ran right at the beginning, right when school's out, they changed, they're on and running, and like everyone else is leaving and they are still running.
I remember we'd get back and like the sun would be setting. I think we'd get back at like 5. School sometimes would end around like 2:30, 2:45. We would be expected to be out on the front lawn, like stretching at like 3. And then we would get done at like 4:30. I think we would run like 6 miles. 6-7 miles.
Yeah, and average cross country race is about how long?
For varsity, it's 3. It's a 5K. I think it's a 5K. I think for junior varsity, I think it's a 2K or 2 miles.
3 miles, yeah, approximately 4.8 kilometers or 5Ks.
I was gonna say, I think 4.8 is what we were always told. So
yeah, and a 5K is 3.1. So 3 miles is a solid indicator. 3.1, 3 miles. But then it said the lower level freshmen and sophomore are sometimes shorter, like 2 miles.
Yeah, I thought it was about 2 miles.
Okay, it's shorter than I thought it was. For whatever reason, I always saw cross country. Granted, a lot of cross country runners end up going more into marathons and stuff like that.
There's a big one that up here, and I don't know if it's still. I imagine it's still going on. It's called Beta Breakers, and you run across like the Bay Bridge and stuff. I did that once, never again.
Yeah,
that one's it's tough.
I don't know why. I always thought like the races were longer. I think it was just because of how much time and not realizing how far you go. A really good mile in the young days, and granted, when I was in high school, was like if you were under 5 minutes, you were good. And I ran a 5-minute mile one time. I hated myself afterwards, but I ran a 5-minute mile one time. But mostly I was a sprint guy, and plenty of people wanted me to do track. Believe it or not, when I was in kidney failure in college, we were doing track training. I hadn't started dialysis yet, but I was puking, like I was bad. The track coach wanted me to join track, and he wanted me to run the 200. He said I'd be a great 200 runner because of my stride and my running. And it was like, I'm literally dying right now, please.
Sounds like my track coach. I think all our track coaches have something in common. They just don't care if you're living or dying. I had a heart problem. I think my sophomore or junior year, I drank a lot of energy drinks. Like the giant, the screwable cans of Monster. I used to drink like 2 of those before track practice. Terrible, stupid idea. Don't do that.
Over caffeinating yourself is bad too. Plenty of people over drink coffee and stuff. By the way, for people that are like, I had 3 shots of espresso. Espresso has less caffeine than a cup of coffee, to be clear, but it's still bad.
I remember going to the heart doctor. They're like, you should be in a lot more pain than you are. And they did like they put the little monitor thing. I forget what it's called.
Ultrasound,
thank you. And they looked over and my heart was like starting to tear. They're like, this will recover because you're young enough. But you really need to stop doing these energy drinks. I had to cut out energy drinks.
So because I had kidney failure, was born with hematuria, I wasn't allowed to drink a lot of the energy drinks. So it was stuff that had all of that in there. So what I would do, and granted the NCAA, by the way, has regulations on how much caffeine is your body. Before a football game, I would drink a Mountain Dew. Because caffeine is a performance-enhancing drug, as much as people don't otherwise tell you. It does.
It is, yeah.
What people don't realize is the reason why caffeine addiction is a problem is it causes vasodilation. So it opens your blood flow in your veins to have wider. And so when you have withdrawals, the reason you get headaches if you get caffeine withdrawals, and I have caffeine sensitivity, is because all of a sudden it's been open and then it starts going back to being restricted.
So that's why I need to keep drinking sober. Interesting.
It's like vasodilation and vasoconstriction. And so a lot of times when you have those withdrawals, what it's doing is it's actually constricting more than where it normally sits because it's used to having the stimulant to open it up, and instead it's cracking down.
Can't tell you we don't teach you these things on these podcasts, okay?
I'm ready for a medical student to come in and be like, well, Tyler, actually.
We need to get Entwin on here. He's doing med school right now.
That's true. Entwin can come in. And he's been on a crazy fitness journey. That guy's getting in crazy shape.
He is. He's getting ripped, as always.
Oh, my God, yeah. It does motivate me to get back into it. I just need my body to heal. That's the problem with me is my body just breaks. Speaking of which, cross-country running and the breakdown of the human body.
Yeah. Heck yeah, let's talk about it.
Oh my God, dude. How does your body feel now after like the years of running and stuff? Do you feel like the same running wise, or do you think it's maybe that you have more weight than you did in high school or anything like that?
Oh, I definitely have a lot more weight. Having a kid is something that I think everybody knows just from like the rumors and seen on TV and stuff. That, you know, I give all of my strength and goodwill wishes to the moms that can do this because it's an incredible feat and it sucks a lot of the time. But for my dads out there, something that they don't really tell you, at least it happened to me, is I started stress eating, seeing my fiance going through everything that she did. I gained like 25 pounds. I don't stress eat. I've never done that. But I could do nothing for my fiance. There's nothing you can do. And so I just started eating, which is something, if you're my friend, you know I don't really eat that much to begin with. And I was finding myself just stress eating like bags of Cheetos and just Doritos and any O's. I was eating everything, and now I'm slowly getting back down. I'm down like 19 pounds, which is great.
Nice.
When in terms of like how do I feel, I was pushed so much in track and cross country, and that's a lot of wear and tear on your body. I have like this weird cracking thing behind my knee, and the doctors have said that I have such little cartilage behind my left knee that I'm probably in the next, like they said 20 years. So in the next 5 years, I'm going to have to probably get it checked again, and they might need to do some type of surgery.
Probably a knee replacement, yeah.
Yeah, anytime I do like this with my knee, my leg, it cracks. And anytime I go to like if I do like a squat to kind of stretch, both my knees make a very loud crack noise. Do you want me to see if I can get on mic?
You can try, yeah.
Okay, let's see. You probably didn't hear it. Both of them popped. Yeah, both of them just like... Probably good that anybody that's grossed out by that.
It's fine. Editors add it in post.
Yeah, Ed, just add like a nice like little Minecraft like.
You can even add an explosion like his knees blew up.
Yeah. But I genuinely feel good. I feel like I could go out and start running. The moment that I get about a half mile in, my body's like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?"
Well, and I think part of that is just out of the routine and redoing it. I actually had a friend of mine, Evie, who used to be like in the circus and crazy gymnast. And she told me that once you're flexible, if you then rest and become stagnant, it's harder to become that flexible again compared to somebody who has never been that flexible and is trying to get that flexible for the first time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Endurance is a hard thing to get, especially when you're running. Having the right form, obviously shoes are a big factor in running. If you don't have a nice pair of shoes, go out and run like a mile in Vans.
Oh God. Oh, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. I'm just saying I did once. It's not a good idea. Getting a nice pair of shoes for any type of running is always a high thing, a high priority. And building up that endurance, even if you can't go that long, push yourself to run as far as you can. And then if you have to walk, and just make the walk, jog routine until you could just jog the whole way. And then you can get to just doing a regular run the whole way. Not a sprint, but, just a little bit past a jog. That's what I'm trying to get back to. I'm in the jog runs phase still. The way I'm trying to do it is like a mile. And I run a whole mile straight like I used to. My brain goes to immediately just go back to how it was in high school, which is basically a sprint for a whole mile, which is not the way to do it when you're 35 and not in your prime anymore.
But the thing is, our brains are so used to, that's our memory, that's our train. And what ends up happening is then the next day you're like, I can't walk.
I can't get out of bed. That's happened before.
So that's me when I go back to the gym, because as a college athlete, like I was in the gym, I'd lift and do all this stuff. It's taken me so long I have to consciously go, no, Tyler, less reps, less weight, chill. Don't work out for the normal 2 hours that you used to do. Work out for like 30 minutes and then be like, okay, cool.
Take a break, hydrate,
Hydrate?
Not with a soda, with like a nice like water.
Yeah. Well, that's easy for me.
Yeah, for me, I'm still trying. I'm down to like 1-2 sodas a day. Tyler can vouch. Anytime I'd go visit Tyler, like I need soda, and I would get like a 12-pack, and I'd go through like half of that in like one day. Now I'm down to like 1 or 2 sodas with like a lot of water in between, which is great. If you stay hydrated, especially before and after a run, you'll feel a lot less pain, which is huge. Ice baths are amazing.
Oh my God. As much as people hate them.
It honestly sucks for the first 2 minutes. If you can get past the first 2 minutes, it's nuts.
Dude, the muscle recovery is crazy.
We used to go, when I did cross country, we would do a cross country camp, and we would do it up in Lake Tahoe. The elevation is different, so we would train your body to be able to take in more stress because you're at such a higher elevation, less oxygen, and we would always do ice baths up there. Again, it sucks for like the first minute. Everything tells your body, get out of this, get out of this. But if you can just stay into it for like 2 whole minutes, you'll feel great. Like, you'll feel great. It's the best.
Even if you can't do ice baths, the muscle recovery time, if you get into a pool, not hot, to be clear, you want a swimming pool that's designed for lap swimming. Most people have their swimming pools way too warm. Swimming in a warm pool, by the way, is awful. And the reason it's awful, from a physics standpoint, the water molecules are more likely to be further apart. Therefore, you don't have as much grip, so you're going to swim slower.
I'm still going to swim in a nice warm pool. You can't stop me.
That's fine. The colder the pool was, the faster I swam. 1, because your muscles want to warm up. 2, because of the actual physics of molecules being closer together, you actually have more pull. People would argue more drag, but you have more ability to move the water, which then allows you to propel forward because you are lifting yourself above the water. And thus, a colder pool generally pushes you out and up out of the water where you have less resistance versus the air. So a colder pool generally means faster swim.
Interesting.
After you do a workout, just lifting, even if you just get into one of those pools, it halves your muscle recovery time.
It's so nice.
2 things happen. Water around your body pulls lactic acid out because it's creating a pH balance between your body and the water. 2, the cooling sensation reduces inflammation, which then also triggers your immune response to kind of calm down, because that's what causes a lot of the pain, is then it causes these stressors on your ligaments and things like that.
Exactly.
And 3, it tells your entire core system to be like, okay, we're done. We're entering rest mode.
And like, you also just rest better. Usually when you get back from a big run, especially if you're out of training for it. If you can't get like an ice bath, just get like a nice big ice cube or like a bag of ice and just kind of like against skin, like not in a cloth or anything, just ice massage. I used to do that all the time.
Oh, especially for shin splints.
I never got shin splints because I always just, I was probably a little bit too anal on it. My buddy Scott always got shin splints. I never wanted that pain. I would always just massage my muscles physically with my hands and with ice. It saved me so much.
The majority of the cause of shin splints, by the way, has to do with muscle imbalance of your calves being too strong compared to your other muscles. 2, your gait. 3, your shoes. Quality shoes are important, but more so than anything, the fit of the shoe is important. So those are key things. But since you were an endurance runner generally, do you feel like that has helped you in being a parent?
Yes. Yes, it has. I will say, when it comes to like taking care of my son, I always try to give my wife a lot, my fiance wife, we've been together for so long, it doesn't matter now, but I always try to give her more of the break because I know I could just chase him around. And now that Milo, my son, is fully mobile, we were getting stuff out of the car, and I put like his bag in the car, and I turned around, he's like halfway down the street. I'm like, dude, where are you going? We're at the park. I'm like, he was already trying to get onto the slide. I'm like, he's so fast now. I think he's going to be a little runner now. But yeah, just have that endurance, I think, is a big game changer just in terms of how much energy I can have throughout the day. When you first have a child, it's exhausting. You never feel like you're getting sleep. You never feel well rested. I think it's just now, and he's about to turn 3. I finally, after 3 years, I'm finally feeling like I'm getting rest. I think we've talked before. We're like, right when he was born, I'm like, I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind, Tyler. What do I do?
Don't have a kid. Don't have a kid.
Tyler's like, sucks to be you, dude.
I cannot relate. I'm sorry.
I'm going to like an after party right now. We're going to go do anything else.
I'm going to go chill on the couch and just relax.
I'm going to go to the gym, have a good time. I'm going to go in the pool. Not a heated pool, though.
It's heated. It's warm enough.
I think it trained me well, though. Again, I'm a little bit of out of shape, but I'm trying to get back into it slowly. Trying to find the time is tough.
That's the key thing, is just finding a way to make time.
I think for anybody that's out there that wanting to get into running, shoes, can't stress enough how important that is. A good diet, hydration. That's really some good tunes. Good thing to have.
Also ease into it. Walking first, like walking does a lot for your body.
A daily walk. We do daily walks here twice a day. We do it in the morning, then we do it like right before it starts getting dark out. We'll go and take Milo for like a mile, 2 mile walk. And he does all the walk himself now. So, I mean, by the time we get back, he's ready to go to bed, and it's great.
And I also recommend watching videos on running form. Making sure your running form is correct helps prevent shin splints. So like toe striking, you don't want to hit and have it go to where it slows you down. So a lot of people will reach with their toes, or heel striking.
Heel toe, heel toe. That is the way that I've always recommended to be running.
The best way is usually the way the running shoe is, you're almost like hitting directly all of it at once.
I've always tried to make it kind of like a wave. That's how I've always tried. Again, kind of heel toe, but like once the main like 80% of your foot hits, it's just kind of a fluid motion. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I'm a sprinter, so I don't heel toe. I'm trying to strike underneath me, and it's like a sweeping motion. So if you took your foot and you're like trying to hit the ground like directly below you, that's basically what you want to do.
Kind of like skateboarding, I guess.
Yeah, it's like doing the skateboard motion, but you're alternating with your feet. So it's different versus a start, but once you're in that running thing, it almost feels like you're floating. You're chasing the floating sensation, where it's like your legs are moving and everything else just seems to stay at the same plane of existence.
Tagging along on like what Tyler was saying, also your upper body is very important. Trying to run as straight as you can. Make sure that your diaphragm isn't bent. I know kind of running a little hunched over is kind of normal, but you're bending your diaphragm, not as much air can get into your lungs. So as much as it sucks, having your body, your back straight and kind of a good running motion, make sure nothing gets bent in the diaphragm, therefore perfect good airflow. I see that being a thing all the time with a lot of people that's running around my neighborhood. They're just kind of like, I'm like, I know why you're out of breath, because your whole freaking diaphragm is crunched up.
Well, and then on top of that too, if you're bending down like that, your eye line, you're going to strain your neck to look up and pay attention to your surroundings. Also, I recommend if you're going to listen to music while running, have it mostly in one ear. Being aware of your surroundings is extremely important.
Nowadays,
extremely important.
People's awareness is pretty bad.
But with that, I think we're going to wrap up the episode, Patrick. So as we do at the end of every guest episode, I want to give you your platform to have people find out where they can follow you, where they can chat with you, where they can interact with you, where they can find what you do and what you put out on the internet, any projects or anything you want to point out. Go for it. The floor is yours.
Just PatrckStatic everywhere on the YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch and YouTube, probably my main places you'll find me playing games, talking about my life. Sometimes IRL streams where I take you guys on adventures with me. As for upcoming projects, don't really have much going on. At least I don't think I do.
Also, that's Patrick with PatrckStatic.
Thank you. I forget my own name sometimes.
It's just spelling it for the audio listeners.
Yeah, I've spelled my name without the I for so long now. So if you just type in PatrckStatic, my name should always come up first. If not, it's always usually Patrick Star, and that's not too far off.
And then, because it is the name of the podcast, go my favorite sports team. Whether it be an athlete or a team, do you have a favorite sports team or player?
So I did this one thing a long time ago with my family where wherever we're born, that kind of dictates the sports team that we're kind of to. So when it comes to football, we're 49ers fans. Since I live in Stockton, California, they always used to, way back in a time long ago.
In the olden days when they actually were 49ers trying to mine for gold, dealing with the prospectors.
Fighting them for balls of gold. They used to have like a private camp that they would go to called the University of Pacific, and we would go down there to watch them play back when Jerry Rice and Steve Young were both part of the team. So I've been a fan of them since back then. So I would probably say the Niners and Golden State Warriors. Those are the two that I usually watch play sports when I can watch them play sports. I always love watching the San Jose Sharks play, but that's because I really like their logo.
That's fair. The Sharks logo is good.
The Sharks logo is pretty freaking sick. I don't know. Baseball, have to go with Giants. I've been close with Oakland A's, but Battle of the Bay is always so much fun to watch.
Listen, you only needed to name one. You're naming so many.
I know. It's just, I'm covering all the sports, man, okay? You say go my favorite sports team, I'm getting you all the sports.
Well, thank you all so much for joining the podcast and watching. Patrick, thank you for joining and being a special guest for this episode.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you guys enjoyed it as we went into a deeper dive on Patrick's sports life and a little bit on cross country and track running. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. If you want to support the podcast, we have merch, store.gmfst.com. You can get yourself something like this cool shirt, which is Little Fingy, white t-shirt, beautiful colors. We've also got some other stuff up there, so go and check that out. Who knows, maybe by the time this episode airs out, we might have to restock with new stuff. There might be something that I don't even know is there right now. And then if you want to interact with us and suggest more guests or more people or anything you want us to cover, reddit.com/r/GMFST is where you can do that. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you all. And we'll see you. Well, I'll see you the next time. Patrick won't, unless you go and check him out on Twitch, which you should do.
I'll be creepily watching from the corners.
Bye, everyone.